You're tuning in to another episode of Average Sports with your average guys, Eric and Ty. I'm Ty, and over there is Eric.
That's right. We're here for another week, another episode of pure, awesome average.
It's the pure uncut, but very average still nonetheless. And we do have a good episode here. It's going to be, since we're in the thick of the baseball season, this is a very baseball-heavy, MLB-featured episode. But first, we always like to kick off the show with something that we're just not going to talk about. And what are we absolutely not talking about in this episode, Eric?
Oh, man, we're not talking about the tantrum of Mr. One, Floyd Money Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao having a all-out middle school fight over social media.
Yeah, those guys are too old to be doing that.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Why don't you respect me, bro? All right.
I respect you, bro.
Get into some of the week recaps since the last episode.
Oh, man.
I thought it was an interesting little headline from baseball.
Yeah.
Speaking of, Tulowitzki is retired.
Tulo.
That's the end of an era there a little bit. He was a great player.
Tulo, he gone.
Yeah, he is going. He signed up with the Yankees this season. Just played, I wasn't a starter, of course, but went down to join the Texas Longhorns. Baseball.
Yeah. All right.
Coaching staff there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I had a feeling, when he signed with the Yankees, he had to have known that he was going to be a bench player and a role player, and he just clearly wasn't happy doing that. So
there you go.
He's gone.
Yeah, another baseball headline is that Goldschmidt on the Cardinals getting hot. This is that time of year that some players are doing that, and that is per his style.
Yeah.
A little bit after All-Star break, then he's going to just start going yard all the time.
Yeah,
4 homers in 4 straight games.
Yeah, he's looked really, really good here. It's the player that the Cardinals thought that they were getting when they traded for him. He's been pretty disappointing. Batting average wise and doubles wise, his homers are kind of on track for what he did last year, but now he's really started to kind of pick it up, and he's looked real good the last couple of days.
Eric, what have you seen the last week?
So I got a couple things here too. We got Shane Lowry won the PGA Open over there overseas. Won it with a negative 15 strokes under.
Wow. Can I give a golf clap for that?
A golf clap, a little soft. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It was 6 strokes over. Tommy Fleetwood was the closest to him at 9 under. I mean, he won by a large margin. So congratulations to Shane Lowry picking up his win, his major championship win. And then NFL training camps are about to start. And by the time that most people listen to this, they probably will have started. So some things to look out for. Some big names aren't going to be at camp. And one has the implications it could end up like Le'Veon Bell last year with Melvin Gordon winning a brand new contract. And he says he's not going to play. He's willing to sit it out. So we'll see how that plays out. He has the leverage to do exactly what Le'Veon Bell did. Zeke also wants a new deal, but this seems more like just fluff and show at the moment, because if he doesn't show up, I think it's by August 6th, it actually doesn't count towards a year of his contract. And so he really doesn't have as much leverage other than just, hey, I really want a new deal. Let's start working on this, just kind of
dramatic. Yeah.
And then there's some very sad news in the sporting world. We reported one very recently too, I think on the last episode, but a boxer, Maxim Darvidesh. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. Apologize if I
Dadashev?
Apologize if I'm not saying it right, but he had a fight over the weekend, 11 rounds. His corner threw in the towel because they knew that something was wrong, and he had a couple of surgeries and passed away from major brain injury.
Yeah, that is tragic. You had mentioned the NFL coming up, though, and some of those...
it's almost here.
Yeah. Well, you know what's in 30 days? College football.
Oh, yeah.
I just had to do a little Google search, and the first thing when you type in, when is the first game of college football? In big letters. It says, in 30 days. In big letters. I don't think I've even seen that before. Yeah.
To the rescue.
So helping us out. All right, moving into the topic of the episode, which is basically all things baseball. So rather than actually talking about the trade deadline, which is what we'll focus on here in a little bit, wanted to talk about the standings first. Let's paint that picture. Where are we in the season? Because, again, post All-Star break, the teams are now just solidified. These are what the teams are, and you will start seeing some other teams turn things around. I think Washington is a great example of that, where they have really climbed out of their early season funk and have started progressing as a legitimate team for possible playoffs. But let's get into this. We'll break down the standings, and then we're going to talk about what teams might be up for trading and moving some players around, and who can benefit and who might, just be stuck like being the Baltimore Orioles.
Man, why you gotta already throwing shade on the Orioles? Everyone knows
that won't be the first time.
So bad. They're so bad.
Fortunately, you're loyal, though. I'll give you that to you.
Yeah. Fortunately, they're not the worst team. But I'm going to be talking about the NL. And so we're going to start over in the East. The Atlanta Braves have been hot all season. They are 60-43, leading the division over there. Right behind them, I wouldn't say right behind them, but 4.5 games back behind them is Washington, 55-47. Philadelphia is 54-48. They are a full game behind Washington, although they are 7-3 in their last 10. So, pretty good record over the last 10. The Mets are definitely falling way back behind after a lot of people thought that they would be a kind of a surprise team in that division. They're 47-55, 12.5 back. And the Marlins bringing up the rear there. No surprise. 38-62, 20.5 games out of the NL East. Bringing it over to the middle of the country in the Central, Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals.
Time to fly.
Are coming back. They are both tied for first in the Central Division after the Cardinals have gone 8-2 in their last 10. They are 55-47. Milwaukee is starting to fade a little bit, although they are 6-4 in their last 10. They are 54-50. Cincinnati is 46-54, and Pittsburgh has really trailed off after the All-Star break. They are 2-8 in their last 10, 46-56. They're pretty much out of it in the Central. Bringing it up to the West, the best team in the National League, the Los Angeles Dodgers, are 67-37, and the Diamondbacks are just a game above 500 at 52-51, 14.5 back. We pointed out a long time ago, no one was going to win the West but the Los Angeles Dodgers. It wasn't even close. It's always a race for second. San Francisco continues to get hot. They are going to be a team that we talk about a lot in the topic here because they have a lot of players and a lot of decisions to make on what they're going to do. They are close in the wild card. But they are way back in the West. They have 0% chance of winning the West, but they're 14.5 back along with the Arizona Diamondbacks. San Diego Padres are 48-54, and the Rockies have really fallen off. They are 48-55 and 2-8 in their last 10. They're bringing up the rear in the West.
Yeah,
who do we got in the East?
Agreed. Colorado definitely on the rocks right now. Let's take a look at the East. Yes, starting off in the AL East, Yankees, no big surprise, leading off that division, 66-35. You got Tampa Bay at 58-47. At 56-47 is the Boston Red Sox. Toronto is down there with 39-65, and hanging out with 25 full games back at first is the Baltimore Orioles. Yeah. Playing like the old St. Louis Browns, right? 32-69. I just had to give it a little more time there on that one, Eric.
Yeah,
just
awesome.
Let that sink in. A negative 185 on their run differential.
Oh,
but anyway,
great.
Yeah, gotta love it. And moving into the AL, I have nothing against Baltimore other than just seeing you get hyped up about it, by the way. Nothing really against Baltimore. They're just not good this year.
They're terrible.
Awful. Yeah. AL Central, the Minnesota Twins are leading that one 61-40. With the Cleveland Indians behind them at 59-42, 45-54 is the record for the Chicago White Sox. The Kansas City Royals are at 39-64 and a whopping 30 wins and 67 losses for the Detroit Tigers. Worse than
the Orioles.
Baseball.
Way to go, Detroit.
Yeah, that's something. At least we're not Baltimore. Something like that.
At least
we're not Detroit. There it is. Houston is, of course, still leading the West. That is not a big surprise. They have been perennial first place contenders in the last several seasons. What is some more surprising, actually, first, Houston's, their record is 66-38. And what is a little more surprising is Oakland is having a good amount of success here, a good club there.
Oh, yeah.
With 58-45. And then the LA Angels at 54-49, 51-51 again is for Texas Rangers, and then Seattle at the bottom of that one with 42-63. Eric, you mentioned the Cards in there, and of course I'm a fan.
Yeah.
They had a little bit of an easy streak, though. I'm not going to give them. I can't give them much of a they're doing so great lately. they played some real kind of stinker teams this year.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to have a tough... We looked this up a little bit ago before recording this tonight. And they are playing like the Dodgers coming up.
The
Oakland
Astros are in town this weekend.
Astros, yeah.
Then they play the Cubs, and in the middle of the Cubs series is the trade deadline, which is on the 31st at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're just going to get that part out of the way. And then they have the Dodgers, and they have now I can't remember the last team, but it was another really good
And the
team.
Dodgers are good. That is best in baseball. Good. Yeah. So,
really, really tough.
Yeah.
The next 4 series. I can't remember who the 4th team is that they play, but it's about to be really, really tough for them to.
So with that,
through.
I wanted to kind of segue into what are these teams looking like? Some are really fringe of first place, like St. Louis. Do they belong in the first place spot? Maybe not. I mean, it's a little.
The front office really committed to it, and the offense is finally starting to show up for them, which is the part of the team that they thought was going to be solid all year, and they really thought that the pitching was going to be tough. And it's been awful, and the offense has been very quiet until recently. But the offense seems to have woken up amidst some of their big name players being out. So who knows what's going to happen when those guys all come back? But that's it's an interesting spot there. I think they could win the division. If they were in any other the National League divisions or even any of the American League, they would not be in contention. Mm-hmm. But because they're in the Central, they have an opportunity to win the division and not have to play in the wild cards. So they need to push their chips in, and they need to be buyers. They need a starting pitcher. They need a lefty out of the bullpen because all they have is Andrew Miller, and they could definitely use another bat, although I would say that's probably on the low end of what they need. Yeah,
that's got to be a low priority. So aside from St. Louis, let's take a look at the rest of the league and start looking at some of these trade options. Who are buyers, who are sellers out there? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the number one team that you're going to hear a lot is going to be the San Francisco Giants. They are going to be a mix of. They're not going to be buyers. I think they're too far out. While they're very close to the wild card, it's also one of those things that's like they're in rebuild mode. They are very much overachieving. So, do they really want to, push chips in and be buyers and take that opportunity for a team that really isn't built to win the World Series?
You don't want to rent a player for the next 3 months.
And they have some commodities where they could really rebuild this team. They have 3 pitchers that people are really going to be interested in. Obviously, Madison Bumgarner is going to be the number one talk of the town, although because he's Madison Bumgarner, even though he's not having the world's greatest season, he is a lights-out pitcher in the postseason. And that's what teams are going to want to come calling for. However, I think the price tag is going to be too high for a 1-year rental, and they're not going to do it. I think the Giants are honestly better off offering him a, compensatory isn't the right word, but offering him a qualifying offer. There's the word I was looking for. And letting him walk and go into free agency, then they'll get a draft pick out of it. I think that's probably what they're going to do. But they also have Will Smith in the bullpen, as well as they have Tony Watson. And I think those are 2 relief pitchers that are going to be huge on the market. And I think those are going to be players that get moved. Relief pitchers are always one of the big hot commodities that teams really want to buy up. When you look at someone like Will Smith, there's quite a few teams that could really use him. The Nationals, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Twins are another team that could do it as well too. I think the Twins could probably use him the most. Their bullpen is pretty torn up, and they could definitely use him. Tony Watson, again, another relief pitcher. I think a good team that could use him, honestly, is the Cardinals. The Cardinals are someone that go after typically people that still have control. He's under control for all of 2020. Which is a big deal for the Cardinals. They tend to also buy cheap for relief pitchers, and I think they could use someone like Tony Watson. But some of the other big names out there, Marcus Stroman from the Blue Jays, he's definitely getting moved. Yeah. And he's going to be tied to the Yankees. He's going to be tied to the Astros. Those teams are going to go all in. But one of the other teams I think that we could see a surprise from, maybe the A's. Don't sleep on the A's. Maybe land in a big name like Stroman.
And then how about a team maybe like Cleveland, like a Cleveland Indians, who are at that first wild card spot? You've had some success in the playoffs. You've even made it to the World Series in recent memory. You haven't been crowned yet, you gotta look for some new players, right?
Maybe
like making that one adjustment